Hello and welcome, I'm Alpa Patel. BBC London has been given exclusive access to a series of raids targeting dangerously overcrowded houses. In one borough, an enforcement team discovered 26 bunk beds in a 4-bedroom house in Wembley. Those living there say it's the only way they can afford to live in London. Gareth Furby reports.
It's a 4-bedroomed house, and a team of enforcement officers have arrived at dawn to look inside. What they find is shocking. There are 26 beds.
How many people live in this room, sir? 1, 2, 3 bunk beds, 6 sleeping spaces.
Another 4 more in this tiny room.
£65 per week each.
It was time for the enforcement team to do some maths. What might the landlord earn from this one property in Wembley?
We think there are people living in this property paying somewhere between £60 and £65 a week. So that we're looking at an income on this property of around about £1,500 a week, which is around about £80,000 a year income.
But there was even more to come. Outside, inspectors found a shack.
Hello, sir.
And inside, 2 more beds. And a woman living here who wasn't happy with the conditions.
She cannot stand the mice and the rats scurrying around at night.
It's dreadful, isn't it, that somebody can be exploited to live in what isn't even a shed, it's a lean-to.
So how many people might be living in conditions like this across London? Well, Brent Council has already prosecuted 30 landlords this year. And taking in other councils, there have been at least 300 raids in 12 months. This house in Kingsbury has now been boarded up. Inside, inspectors found 17 beds. The men living here, thought to be Romanian, have now moved on. In Harrow, there's another 4-bedroomed house, not quite so crowded. Until recently, 13 people, mainly from Hungary, had been living here. But they're not happy. One of the tenants has armed himself with a baseball bat.
Because I'm gonna protect ourselves.
The tenants here claim their landlord gave them just 2 weeks' notice to get out, and when they objected, 2 strange men turned up outside the property.
Walking up and down, punching in the air.
I just jumping around and, preparing to the fight.
The landlord has declined to comment, but the tenants here and those back in that house in Wembley say they have no choice but to live in these conditions. Gareth Furby, BBC London News.
There's been misery for commuters and holidaymakers after a fire at Gatwick Airport continues to cause long delays on the trains. The track fire is affecting the main line between Victoria and Brighton. Well, our reporter Mark Ashdown is following this story. He's here in the studio. Mark, this has caused considerable delays, hasn't it?
Yes, well, passengers on these major routes to the south of London are well used to delays and disruptions caused by the ongoing problems with Southern Rail, the operator. But this morning, fresh misery. As you say, a fire on the actual track itself caused huge disruption to services. Now, we can see some footage shot by a commuter from the edge of a platform. Shows just how spectacular, how dramatic this fire was actually on the track itself. It happened at Gatwick Airport at about 7 o'clock this morning, and electrical cables were damaged in that, but crucially the conductor rail, which gives power to the trains themselves, that was damaged. Now, the fire itself was put out pretty quickly, but the knock-on effect, the disruption all morning was pretty horrendous. At least 30 minutes of delays on pretty much every service up from the coast in Brighton to London Victoria. Now, Southern, Thameslink and Gatwick Express services all affected, so commuters obviously, but of course holiday makers as well, going to Gatwick Airport to try and get away. And now Network Rail says it's doing all it can. It has of course apologised to customers, but it says the damage is extensive and it will take time. 2 out of the 4 tracks on this line will be out for the rest of the day, so expect some disruption into the evening rush hour. Passengers are advised to check services before travelling, and of course if you are delayed for more than 30 minutes, it's worth noting you can claim compensation.
Mark, thank you very much for that update. Our reporter Mark Ashdown there. The future of the proposed Garden Bridge over the Thames could finally be decided this week. The bridge was championed by former London Mayor Boris Johnson, but his successor Sadiq Khan seems considerably less enthusiastic. Well, it was all supposed to start this summer, but has been pushed back to the autumn. Nick Watt looks at whether it will ever be built.
To its fans, the Garden Bridge would show the world that London is a world-class city with a spectacular place for contemplation across the River Thames. If Manhattan can have the High Line, why can't London have its own tree-lined Thames crossing? To its detractors, the bridge is a vanity project, reminiscent of, yes, the Millennium Dome, and didn't that end well? The bridge has had significant ambassadors. Boris Johnson as London Mayor championed the project, and the London-born George Osborne thought it would showcase the best of British design and attract visitors from across the globe. And of course Joanna Lumley, who's known Boris Johnson since he was 4, dreamt up the project and lobbied her dear Boris.
It's this juxtaposition of something really strange, gardens in strange places. That's paradise for me.
But the bridge now feels unloved in Whitehall and at London City Hall after the sacking of George Osborne and the departure of Boris Johnson to higher office. Sadiq Khan, the new London mayor, was a reluctant convert and was recently given a taste of opposition to the project in London.
And that's the dilemma I've got. Do I cancel it and waste £40 million or carry forward? Well,
the future of the bridge could be decided this week when the Transport Secretary Chris Grayling decides whether to extend a £15 million government guarantee until September next year. A no will spell real danger for the Garden Bridge, which is already in trouble.
My understanding is they've spent £38 million already, and bearing in mind they haven't put a shovel in the ground yet, so that's just on preparatory and planning works. And to put that into context, I think the Millennium Bridge cost about, including fixing the wobble, cost about 25 million. So we could have effectively built a bridge and a half with the money that they've spent just on planning and preliminaries.
No doubt ministers have thought through the consequences of crossing its formidable creator. Joanna Lumley is no slouch when it comes to knocking governments into shape.
Nick Watt reporting there. Well, how's the weather looking for us? Here's Kate Kinsella to tell us.
Good afternoon. Well, we started this morning with lots of sunshine, a really beautiful start actually. Temperatures gradually rising as well. This afternoon, more of the same, but there is a little bit more in the cloud. Still some bright spells and some sunny spells as well, but you will notice the cloud increasing from the west. Now, some of that cloud quite thick as well. We may get 1 or 2 spots of rain in the form of light showers, but many places staying dry, and it's feeling quite pleasant as well. Temperatures getting up to 23 Celsius in central London. Now, that cloud continues to move across from west to east as we head into the evening and overnight. Still 1 or 2 showers expected as we head through. Now, the minimum temperature, again, it's feeling quite warm, down to 17 Celsius in central London. Now, that's ahead of our next band of rain, which pushes its way from west to east first thing tomorrow morning. Most of it drizzly, but some more persistent rain expected. Gradually it'll break up, though, latter stages of the morning into the afternoon. 1 or 2 showers, and they could be quite sharp as well, particularly as we head into tomorrow afternoon, where we do see 1 or 2 sunny spells. The temperature tomorrow up to 22 Celsius, so fairly similar to today. As we head through the rest of the week, it does stay rather unsettled. Again, for Thursday, some outbreaks of rain expected. Temperatures remain similar in the low 20s. For Friday as well, again, similar conditions, quite a lot of clouds, some brighter spells though, but it will start to feel just a little bit cooler as we head into Friday afternoon and into the weekend.
Well, if you want more on the delays at Gatwick Airport, you can tune into BBC Radio London. They'll have travel updates for you. That's it from me. Riz Latif will be here with our main programme at 6:30 this evening. For now, though, from me and the team, have a very good afternoon.